Welcome to PH Insight. Know the force behind the flag. Whether it's warships, fighter jets, or the next big defense move, if it matters to Philippine security, it's here. When news broke that Australia had chosen Japan's Mogami-Class frigate as the design for its future warship program, it was more than just a commercial victory for Tokyo. It was a strategic breakthrough that may soon ripple across Asia, including the Philippines, a country increasingly seeking modern naval assets to defend its vast waters. For Manila, Japan's win in Australia represents not just proof of Tokyo's growing ability to deliver complex defense platforms but also a roadmap for future cooperation. If Australia, a major naval power, is willing to entrust its fleet renewal to Japanese technology, could the Philippines be next in line to benefit from Tokyo's rising defense industry? Australia's decision to purchase 11 upgraded Mogami-class frigates from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, MHI, is valued at $10 billion Australian dollars. The program, known as Project C-3000, will replace the Royal Australian Navy's aging Anzac-class ship starting in 2029. This deal is Japan's largest ever defense export, and officials in Tokyo have described it as a model case for future sales. Unlike the country's failed attempt to sell submarines to Australia in 2016, this time Japan showed it could act quickly, meet delivery timelines, and combine government backing with private sector expertise. For the Philippines, which has been struggling to secure advanced naval assets under its Horizon 3 modernization program, this new reality is encouraging. Tokyo is no longer just a donor of Coast Guard ships or radars, it has become a serious exporter of high-end warships. The Philippine Navy, still largely reliant on older second-hand vessels, faces the daunting task of defending an archipelago of more than 7,000 islands amid mounting tensions in the South China Sea. While Manila has already acquired modern frigates from South Korea and is considering submarines, it still lags behind its neighbors in terms of both quantity and quality of naval assets. Here is where Japan comes into play. Tokyo has hinted at the possibility of transferring decommissioned Abukuma-class destroyer escorts to the Philippines starting in 2027. These ships, while not brand new, would represent a major upgrade in terms of anti-submarine warfare and blue water capability compared to Manila's existing assets. Sharing the same type of assets means we can rely on each other and work more closely together, a Japanese defense official explained, pointing to the value of interoperability between allies. If such a transfer materializes, the Abukuma could become the first major warship export to the Philippines from Japan, following the earlier delivery of air surveillance radars that Manila purchased in 2020. Japan's growing defense exports are not only about platforms, they are about strategy. By supplying equipment to allies and partners, Tokyo strengthens a network of militaries that can train together, share logistics, and coordinate operations. For the Philippines, this is crucial. The country is already working closely with the United States under their Mutual Defense Treaty, with joint exercises reaching record levels. But adding Japan into the equation creates a triangle of cooperation in maritime security. The Philippines and Japan already conduct bilateral naval drills, often alongside the U.S. Navy. Having similar or even shared platforms could make these exercises more effective. Imagine a scenario where Philippine Abukuma-class escorts train with Japanese Mogami-class frigates and Australian Hobart-class destroyers, all operating on complementary systems. This level of interoperability would significantly boost the Philippines' deterrence posture. Japan's success in Australia may also open the door for new technologies to reach the Philippines. Beyond the Abukuma, officials in Manila have expressed interest in submarines. Indonesia has even looked at acquiring decommissioned Soryu-class submarines from Japan. While it remains unclear whether Japanese regulations will allow this, the possibility is being taken seriously. For the Philippines, which has long dreamed of acquiring its first-ever submarine force, Japan could become an alternative or even complementary partner to traditional suppliers like France or South Korea. Another area of interest is unmanned systems. The Mogami-class frigates, for example, are designed with advanced automation and the ability to operate unmanned vehicles. If Japan is willing to share these technologies, it could accelerate the Philippine Navy's transition into a modern, networked force. Of course, challenges remain. Japan still operates under the three principles on transfer of defense equipment and technology, which impose strict limitations on arms exports. Although these principles were revised in 2014, they still require case-by-case approval by Japan's National Security Council. Transferring second-hand warships like the Abukuma may require further revisions, and Tokyo has yet to clarify exactly how such deals would be structured. Would they be outright sales, donations, or joint development programs? Then there is the question of cost. Even if Japan is willing to transfer ships at a discounted rate, the Philippines must still invest in training, logistics, and maintenance infrastructure. Naval modernization is not only about acquiring ships but also about sustaining them for decades. Still, many in Manila believe the long-term benefits outweigh the hurdles. Japan's growing experience in exports means that its companies, backed by the government, are now more capable of meeting customer needs, whether in Australia, Indonesia, or the Philippines. Beyond the practicalities, Japan's Warship deal with Australia sends a strong strategic signal. It shows that Tokyo is committed to building defense ties with like-minded nations to maintain stability in the Indo-Pacific. For the Philippines, which faces increasing pressure from Chinese vessels in the West Philippine Sea, this message is reassuring. It suggests that Manila is not alone, and that it has potential partners who are not only willing to conduct exercises but also to provide the tools needed for self-defense. Exporting military equipment is not only about economics, one Japanese defense expert explained. It is about shaping the security environment and making sure allies and partners are capable of working together when it matters most. The Philippines has often been described as the weak link in regional defense due to its outdated equipment and limited resources. But this perception is changing. Over the past decade, Manila has taken concrete steps to modernize its armed forces, from acquiring Fa-50 fighter jets from South Korea to Black Hawk helicopters from Poland, and Guarani armored vehicles from Brazil. Adding Japanese-built or transferred warships to this mix would mark another milestone. It would symbolize not only the Philippines' growing defense ties with Japan but also its emergence as a more capable maritime player. Just as importantly, it would show that Tokyo sees Manila as a partner worth investing in. With Australia already on board, the Philippines could become the next test case for Japan's evolving defense export strategy. In the coming years, much will depend on how smoothly the Mogami deal proceeds in Australia. If MHI can deliver the first frigates on schedule by 2029, Japan's reputation as a reliable supplier will be firmly established. That success will make it far easier for Tokyo to persuade Manila, and other Southeast Asian capitals, that Japanese warships are a sound investment. For the Philippines, this could mean a future in which its navy sails not just with South Korean frigates or American patrol planes but also with Japanese destroyer escorts and, perhaps one day, submarines.